You're listening to the Practical Wealth Show with Curtis May, putting you in the driver's seat to control your finances. Let's start the Practical Wealth Talk about alternatives to Wall Street.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new edition of the Practical Wealth Show. Thank you for listening. So, listen, today I was, going into the end of the year. I'm always, planning for, 2018 and how can we get better. And I came across here's one of the benefits. One of the things, folks, you gotta read. I also journal. So if there are interesting notes from either like an audio book or a book I'm listening to, I will journalize it because there's something in the writing and reviewing of it that helps, put it into your memory, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you an excerpt from my journal, not from the book because it was on an audio book, but a lot of times I'll listen to stuff. So let me show you how to study. I listen to stuff. If it's on Audible, I'll bookmark it. I'll come back. I'll replay that if it's an important section, and I will write it down. And then I'll rewrite it in my journal, with my notes and my thoughts and how I can apply that, right? One of the things that I did this past week, I taught a class this weekend. And one of the things I talked about, we were talking about goal setting, but I talked about what's your number one asset. Right. And so your number one asset or investment is one actually in between your two ears. OK, Jim Rohn always says, most people don't have a money problem. They have a philosophy problem. OK, which is how you think. Right. And so if your philosophy is bad, you're going to have a bad attitude. If you have a bad attitude, you're going to have bad actions, which you do. And if you have bad actions, you're going to have bad results. And the result of that is either you're going to have a bad destiny, you're going to have a bad future, right? So it's the daily decisions that you make that in the moment they don't seem like they're important, but if you string together a bunch of little bad decisions, you're going to be a mess. Okay. And so you've got to have little wins. Now, how do you work on your attitude? I challenge my clients to listen. Can you read a book a month? Can you read, not even a book a month? Can you read, 12 to 15 pages a day? Yes, you can. All right. Can you listen to a podcast a day? Not just mine, but share mine. Like it and leave me a comment, but can you listen to a podcast? There's tons of folks. You don't make no money, listen to the radio. Okay. If you're driving, if you're working out and you've got if you're listening to this show, then you want to learn, you want to get better. Right. And so you've got to, leaders are readers. Right. And so you've got to get better. So we're going to talk about some habits, so the title of this show is actually the 8 habits of highly successful people. Right. So let's go back to my other thought. Right. First one is you got to invest in between your 2 years. That's the first thing you got to invest in. The second thing is your skill set. Your income is in direct proportion to the value that you bring to the marketplace. So if you can increase your value, your ability to negotiate, your ability to sell, recruit, train if you're in business, right, or in sales, right, your ability to sell. Okay, everything is sales, right? There's a book by Daniel Pink called "To Sell Is Human." Life is sales. Okay, if you ever been out on a date or you're married, you sold. Okay, you make no mistake about it, right? So you just gotta learn how to do it on purpose. And see, y'all think selling is trying to talk people into stuff. It's not. It's really helping people through questions achieve a desired future result that is good for them and helping them intellectually justify moving in that direction. That's what good people do. See, I have no doubt when I work with somebody, working with me is the best decision that they can make. Okay. Because I work hard at, my biggest fear is giving bad advice. Right. And, but I tell people, look, I'm your Sherpa. It's your money and it encourages money. So it can't be more important to me than it is to you. And the third thing that you can invest in. So first one is mindset. Second one is skill set. And the third one is your network. and your network equals your net worth. So you've got to constantly expand your ability to get around people that can pull you. And by getting around them, they challenge you to think bigger. If you're the smartest one in your group, guess what? I hate to tell you, you need a new group. All right. But let's talk about the highly successful habits of wealth builders. So this is from a book called 7 Years to Seven Figures. Okay. By Mark Masterson. Okay. And one of the things he talked about from the book, you have to decide if you want to be wealthy. Okay. And he talks about setting goals. And so as we go into the new year, folks, you should be setting financial goals. I set health and fitness goals, family and personal social goals. You know, is it to have a dinner, every Sunday dinner once a month or once a week with the family? Is it date night? You know, is it making sure that you get to the gym 3 or 4 days a week? Is it making sure that you properly supplement? Okay. I'm going to do a talk, folks, you dig your grave with your teeth. And so the best way to keep your health care costs down is don't get sick. So you need to work on that. All right. And you want to think about that. See, folks, if you do certain things, that's why we call them habits, they become routine. And then this is your day-to-day actions is what will drive you to success. It has nothing to do with markets or Bitcoin or anything like that. So if you hear me talk about, like, all I really do is teach chapter 2 of The Richest Man in Babylon with clients, the 7 cures for a lean purse, right? Or we talk about the 7 principles of prosperity economics, right? See, principles don't change and there's nothing new under the sun, all right? So let's talk about this and see, I want you to ask yourself, what of these traits do I have in my life and what traits do I need to add? Okay, because success leaves clues. The guy who wrote the book is quite rich. Okay, and so I'm looking at this going, as I go into 2018, what can we do? So, habit number 1, wealthy people work hard. Okay, so all this, I'm only going to work 4 hours. I know the 4-hour work week is really not about working 4 hours. It's about delegation. But, the average wealthy person works 59 hours a week. Okay. And I can attest to that. But see, if you love it, if it's your business, it ain't work. Okay. And I love it. I love thinking about this stuff. I love people say, how much you read so much? Well, I'm kind of a nerd, but I reading on economics or how to become your own banker or alternatives, that all the stuff that we talk about, that's entertainment. Leadership, marketing is Austrian economics is my new hobby, learning about that. And so why? Because I need to know what's going on. All right. And because not knowing can hurt you. All right. It's really hard to win a game. You don't know the rules. Right. So wealthy people work hard. Okay. Number 2, guess what? They're good at what they do. They have a quiet confidence that if they lost it all, they could do it all over again. See, folks, you got to know it. See, wealth comes from it's inside of you, your ability to create value in the marketplace. So if you know it, so most people, if you took their money away, Andrew Carnegie, if you took my money away and gave me my leadership team, his key people, he would build it all over again twice as fast because nobody can take the knowledge away from you. And so, and guess what? You learn by screwing up. See, the problem I have with today's education is that it's too much, standardized testing and that kind of stuff. And we're doing with that with our kids because you have to play that game. But what I want and what I stress to them is critical thinking. You have to think and solve problems. One of the things I always tell my daughter is like, well, how do I do this? I was like, listen, don't be a dumb smart girl. So, you know what I mean? Because my kids are brilliant. But, don't ask me simple questions. When you got this iPhone I got you where you can ask Google whatever the hell you need to know. So, so figure it out. And because you have to think. One of the things you have to do is you got to be able to find and process information. Okay. And so you have to be good at what you do. Number 3 is they have multiple streams of income. Now, I know y'all all heard that, but here's the thing. they initially have most of their money come from one thing, one primary enterprise, okay? And then they leverage that. So you have to create alignment. There's a book, what's it called? The Seven Habits of difference between the habit of millionaires and the middle class. And one of the things that I've adopted is the idea of practicing intentional congruence, right? Meaning that, let's say I might do an affiliate program or I have multiple things, but they're things that serve my ideal client. And so I just add on to that to help create an experience. So if I'm talking about, uh, last week we talked about, week before last, we talked about cash flow management. Well, I have a couple of apps that are affiliate programs that I make money, a little bit of money, off of that, but they actually are tools of implementation to help you do what they do. So if you're looking at that and you're in business and you're marketing, well, what else could my client use that would help their experience with me? And you add that on, and then they can become additional revenue streams. So you increase your profitability on the client you already have, then rather than trying to go out and get new ones, even though you should go get new ones, but you want to max out on the profitability of each client you already have. Okay. 4, here's a biggie. They live in relatively inexpensive homes. Okay. And so, what's the person with a $6.8 million net worth pay for a house? About 545,000. Okay. See, the cost of the house determines your lifestyle, and if it's you should stay where you are really until you're comfortable as you can and fix it up. See, I got a bunch of people right now where they're living, they're working through right now, trying to figure out is and their ratio for housing is over 50% of their income, and the answer is they need to move. Okay. And they don't want to hear that, but they might need to hear that because you've got too much house. If all your money is you're making 5 grand a month and your mortgage is $2,000 a month, $2,500 a month, $3,000 a month, it should be about 30% tops. You should be able to handle your mortgage payment with one check of your checks if you got a job, right? And so if you can't do that, that's a problem, okay? And you're because you think your house is your biggest asset. Your house is not an asset, to quote the Kiyosaki, right? Because an asset is something that puts money in your pocket every month. Now it is an asset, it just ain't yours, it's the bank's. And so because it's bringing revenue to them. So because it's not just a mortgage, right? You got to light that house, you got to heat that house, right? You got to landscape that house. And so it is a big money drain. Okay. So you've got to, live within your means. People forget the idea of the starter house, right? And you can start a house, you get yourself some investment property, and then you can get your dream house. Okay. And so they keep it mean and lean. So all of this, uh, uh, I used to watch MTV Cribs. They don't do none of that stuff. All this stuff these NBA players get is a waste of money. They're about to change the mortgage deduction. So if you have a mortgage over $500,000, you might not be able to get the write off. Right now, if it's your house is over $1.1 million, you can't write off the mortgage interest. So a lot of people don't know that. So they're just giving money away. All right. And so they spend less than other people do. And so what they set an income ceiling. See, one of the things you got to do is create a lifestyle ceiling. Okay. And so, you've got to fight Parkinson's law, which says that your expenses rise to meet income. So you have to be able to get control of yourself, set of income limit, right? So if your goal is to, let's say you're making good money now and you realize that, all right, your goal, and so I'm talking to entrepreneurs here because you have more time to control this, but even if you're getting raises and it takes 6 grand a month to run your household, and let's say you are blessed and your business takes off and your income goes up to 10, 12, or $15,000 a month. Well, you don't automatically go buy a bigger house and a bigger car, right? Which is discipline. Nature doesn't like a vacuum. What you have just given yourself an opportunity to do is compress your time frames to financial independence, right? So if you cap your lifestyle at 6,000, take a nice trip. I'm not saying live in a sackcloth, but now if you go up to 12, that means you could save 5 grand a month, right? That's, or 3 grand or that or whatever. And so, or you can save it. Those are down payments for your investment properties or other enterprises so that you can get into a lifestyle cycle we call cash asset cash, right? You got cash, you buy an asset that buys more cash flow, you save a portion of that cash flow, and you keep that cycle going. Rather, I'm going to make more money, I'm going to buy a bigger house, I'm going to go back to school, I'm going to do all this stuff, and all you do is add more liabilities, okay, for dumb stuff. Debt for frivolous stuff, which Rich Dad called doodads, what you're doing is you're collateralizing future earnings. Okay. Because that's what they're loaning money against. You're using your earnings as collateral. And so you are committing future earnings to stuff you might not even remember what the heck you bought 3 months from now. Right. So they're number 6. Believe it or not, see, they are good at savings. I didn't say investing. They are good at saving. Savings is liquid money you cannot lose. We believe at Practical Wealth, the best place to store cash is permanent life insurance, whole life insurance. We call that the private reserve strategy. But you want to have some ATM money, but they save maybe 50% of their gross income. You're talking about making a lot of money. What do we want you to do? We want you to start out saving 10 to 15%. 20. But if your business is successful and you are making $20,000-$30,000 a month, yes, and let's say it takes 10,000 and you've given yourself a lifestyle ceiling of 8, 10, 12,000, then you jump up to higher than that, then you should be saving that, right? You have, because if stuff happens, right, income is not wealth. That's what you got to realize. And so if you have what does it take? So let's say your net bill money takes $5,000 a month. So how much money would you need if you shut your business down, or somebody got laid off, or you were laid up, or something, for you to be able to not have to work for 12 months and not even stress it, because you've got that, at least for the first 6 or 7 months, you won't stress it, but you've got money. Let's say you have passive income and you've got 12 months of cash set aside. How would you feel? What kind of peace of mind would that give you? Well, you know, that's what you're working for. All right. So if you don't have 3 months, don't even talk to me about investing. Okay. I want to do this. I want to do Bitcoin. Listen, you're not ready for that. You're speculating, hoping to hit a home run. Okay. That will fail. Okay. So stop chasing. You can get 4 singles is a home run, right? So stop chasing, trying to hit home runs, hit it out the park to make up for a dumb decision that you did. All right. Number 7 is they pay themselves first. So they say, now how do you save? You got to pay yourself first. You are a bill. See, they set aside a portion of their earnings before they do anything else. Okay. See, if you pay your mortgage first, you're giving your money to somebody else's bank. You have to, because you take care of the bank. If you pay your taxes, you take care of the government. Okay. Car loan leases, you take care of the finance company. But what about you? So you have to make it a priority. All right. You've got to set goals for your savings. Every year, you want to save more than you did before. So as you're doing your budget or your cash flow management plans, we don't like budgets. You're a bill. You have to treat yourself as a bill. So if you make $5,000 a month net, then $500 comes off the top to go to savings. Okay. And then the rest of that, your tithe, all that stuff comes out of that money, right? If you're in debt, then it's 10, 20, 70, 10% to savings, 20% to debt elimination, and then 70% to lifestyle. And then, for example, if you tithe, the tithe comes out of that 70%. That's lifestyle. Okay. And so now what's the use of paying off all your debt? There's authors that say, listen, put $1,000 aside for emergency fund. That is nothing. And then take all your money and snowball your debt. Well, okay. Now your creditors are happy, but you're broke. And how do you feel? Okay. So that's stupid. All right. Or I shouldn't say that way, but you know what I mean? It's, I get a little hype when I go into this stuff. So if you're making 50 grand a year, you should be saving 10 to 15% minimum. Okay. If you're making 50,000 to 200,000, you should be saving 20%. So that's kind of the goal that we're looking for. Okay. 200,000 to 500,000, at least 25%. And if you're making 500,000 to 2 million, this is according to Mark, you should be saving 35. And if you're making 2 million or more, you should be saving 40% of your income should go to savings because you don't need that much to live off of. You need some of these ball players, not a basketball player, right? So, even if you're making a league minimum, $1 million is $80,000 a month gross. And then, of course, that tax is out. So, how much money should they be saving and buying all this stuff? So, folks, you've got to do wherever you are, principles don't change. Number 8, for those of you who are counting, I hope you're taking some notes on this stuff. Count your money. Do a personal balance sheet every month, okay? Most wealth is lost because people don't manage their cash flow and they don't manage their finances. See, that which gets measured gets done. I had one of my clients told me their grandfather had a business, and and it was quite successful. He, at the end of every day, he calculated his net worth every night, okay, on paper. Okay, this is before computers, on paper. I mean, that's what people do. You don't just walk around and end up on the top of Mount Everest, folks. You got to pay attention. Okay, you got to be. You have to direct. Wealth is a choice. Okay, you can choose. You have to decide that I want to be wealthy. I want to be financially independent. Which is just a choice saying I want to be free. I want to leave a legacy for my family. What's wrong with that? Okay, money is green paper you exchange for goods for services. So the more of it you have, the better your services, the better your quality of life, the better your health care, the better schooling your kids have. Why would you not want to do that? Okay, why would you feel guilty about doing that? But you got to get over. Yeah, that's why you got to read, because you got to change your mind about money. It's too much thinking going on in your head where you're feeling guilty. Oh, money's evil, and I don't want to be a capitalist. Capitalism is an ever expanding system of cooperation amongst strangers. It's an exchange. You're exchanging value. You can't. So it's not about this. Don't get me started. I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole. But it's not about the crap you see going on in Washington where you've got big business in bet with government. That's corporatism. Y'all have never seen capitalism. So capitalism is actually your salvation. Okay. I hear people go, oh, no, I don't like capitalism. I was like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Okay. So I have to do a whole show on that. Okay. Because I'm getting mad. All right. When I start thinking about some of the dumb conversations I've had. So feel free to text me on that. I like discussions. We can agree to disagree. See, discuss means to thrash out. See, to me, that's the fun. What I want to do is get a discussion about money, about success, about entrepreneurship. That is the goal of the show. Is to challenge your thinking, to introduce you to prosperity economics. Stop looking for answers outside of yourself, okay, and for other people to solve your problems. It's within you. So we're on 8. Count your money, all right? And so your assets, your liabilities, okay? And see, you've got to see, once you're counting it, then you got to be aware of it, and then you want to grow it, okay? Can you grow every quarter your net worth? If you're an investor or your business owner, can you grow what should you be measuring? Growing your passive income. Okay. And so make yourself a promise. You'll grow your net worth every month. Okay. Every month you will get richer. All right. And so that's got to be a decision. Okay. And so these are fundamental habits that if you do this, according to Mark, you will be rich in 7 years or less. Okay. And so that is awesome. So there's a couple of bonus habits that I got from I'm looking at my notes here. And so you need to earn, save, then take your capital and leverage it and invest it in active capital investments. See, so folks, there's 2 types of investing. There's active investing and passive investing. So when I talked about an early example of my client, my friend that bought the ATM machines, that's being an active investor. I was talking to these kids in a workshop, and I said, look, profits are better than wages. Wages make you a living. Profits make you a fortune, right? And so what occurs, what's the profit? So you see the kids, not even kids, people that sell water on the street. What's a case of water? $4. How many in a case? $24. And if you sell each one, that's $24. That's gross profit. You take out your $4, boom, $20 profit. Profits are better than wages. But that's investing. Okay. So now where did the $4 come from to do that? From your savings, right? Part of all your earnings yours to keep. Manage your cash flow, budget thy expenses, write a richest man in Babylon. Make your gold multiply, meaning from your savings, you've got to look for ways to employ your capital. See, if you're going to get ahead, the key is you must have a business. You got to have a unique skill that you have acquired or knowledge about your business that can be leveraged, that somebody will pay you for. Okay. Then you got to learn into how to sell and market that skill. Okay. You must develop specific valuable knowledge. See, that's how you grow. That's why I say you got to grow your mindset and your skill set, because it's that skill is what you trade for revenue. Okay. See, there's no people say that I'm a wealth, nobody can make you wealthy but you. All right. There's no financial product that's going to take you to glory. Wealth is part of your human life value, what's in between your ears and your ability to take what God has given you and be of service to somebody. You got to serve your fellow man. So you got to figure out what problems are out there in the marketplace, and you've got to create a solution, an elegant solution, and then they will exchange their dollars because they value your service or solution more than they value the dollars. They feel like they're getting more value from that, and they will exchange money for your service. Folks, that is capitalism. If they don't like you, they're not going to buy anything. You can't force anybody to do business with you. Okay. And so if we would just leave it well enough alone, and let capitalism do the work, we would find that most of your problems would be solved if you would embrace it and stop looking for somebody to come save you. All right. All right. I'm off my soapbox, but listen, those are the 8 habits, folks. I hope that you took some notes and share this, right? And ask yourself, what can I do? Which habit can I work on today? I'm going to lay these out as I go into the year. I'm going to organize my thoughts. I'm going to create a system to manage cash flow. I'm going to pay myself first. I'm going to read a book on real estate investing or how to do Facebook ads. I'm going to look for ways to expand my income. I'm going to look for ways that if I have a job to create more value, or ways to partner. If you're at a small company, maybe there's a way he talks about in his book, ways that you don't need to leave your job. You can look for opportunities within your doing to create strategic alliances and carve out a division where if you grow this section, you get the lion's share of the profit. See, if you're thinking, you don't have to, everybody doesn't have to go leave their job, but you need to at least be an entrepreneurial thinker, right? So Napoleon Hill's book is called what? Think and Grow Rich. You don't say work overtime and grow rich, right? It says think and grow rich. And you got to have organized thoughts and you got to have accurate thinking. So it's not so you have to be focused. You can't just be a wandering generality. So you have to have, if you don't have goals, if you're not going into the year with goals, then you're like a ship without a rudder, right? And so you're just going to go wherever the winds blow and you just waste time. And you can't get ahead that way. So folks, I'm going to leave you with this. I'll see you guys next week. And hey, listen, so one of the things that we're doing, if you like a strategy session where we'll talk about we have a little exercise called Retirement Ready or Not. So if you'd like to see with your situation, we can in 10 minutes we can kind of walk you through exercises, see where you stand. If you'd like to hear about the best place to store cash and the private reserve strategy, and learn how to run your personal economy like a financial institution, just click the button and schedule yourself a 15-minute appointment with us, no obligation, and let's talk. You're interested in getting out of debt, you or send me a text to to 6786 with the keyword cash flow hashtag ebook to get our free ebook, Financial Planning Has Failed. Folks, you have a wonderful day and go out there and make something happen. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Practical Wealth. To access the show notes and resources, go to practicalwealthshow.com. To get your questions on the show, go to practicalwealthshow.com. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before you make any investment decisions, consult a professional. This show is copyrighted by Practical Wealth. Written permission must be granted before syndication or rebroadcasting.